Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury.
And I'm Nick Amaral.
And welcome to Ask the Tech Coach. This is episode number 31, your Tech Coach Holiday Wish List. Today we're going to be talking to a roundtable of tech coaches all about their holiday wish lists, what they're looking for in ed tech, and what they hope to be a great 2019. Nick, how are you today?
Doing good, Jeff. Just wrapping up some things with some teachers and some projects, getting ready for some a little bit of downtime and some renovations in our districts where we're trying to get into some more classrooms, flexible seating, and then hallway space is on our mind as well. So a little bit outside the box stuff.
You know, and this is the time of year where everything is going crazy. Some tech coaches are busy, some tech coaches are less busy, and it is the time where administration is taking the moment to ask the questions of, really, what does school look like, or what should school look like? We had a couple people last week listen to our show, episode 30, about really what to do during those holiday downtime. And, Nick, I love that we had so much great support this year. Of course, we started up our show in August and have been going absolutely crazy, dropping this podcast every single Monday. And we just want to take a moment here on Christmas Eve to say thank you to everybody. Right, Nick?
Right, absolutely. Just enjoyed our time and the various podcasts that we put out and the topics that they've sent our way.
But it is true that even though there's a lot of stuff going on in the tech coach world, many tech coaches this holiday season, well, Nick, they're still feeling a little left out. They're still feeling a little alone in their position. Maybe they're, the only tech coach in a district. Maybe they're the only tech coach in a county. Maybe they're a tech coach that, maybe their other school is 400 miles away. Nick, what can those tech coaches do if they're looking for a little bit of holiday cheer and collaboration this year?
Yeah, so, just 2019, mid-January, we're going to start up with our second cohort of our mastermind group, and just having an opportunity for tech coaches, instructional coaches, PD personnel, whatever your title is, to collaborate. Just a place that they can come together, share ideas, and meet up, about twice a month and just brainstorm and try to accomplish one goal by the time that they leave in their work with the other tech coaches.
And, this past cohort, Nick, we had a lot of people. We had about almost 10 or so tech coaches join us for that first cohort. And I think every one of them had a chance to walk away accomplishing one of those goals. I know some of our tech coaches completed their ed tech integration plan. Some of them completed their learning management course. There's a lot of things. Nick, tell people what they actually will receive by joining our mastermind.
Yeah, so joining up with the mastermind, we got a couple things we'll be giving away. They're definitely going to get, the 2 video collaborative meetings a month. They're going to get an 8-week online course about learning management systems. Just if you're in the market, because I know that's going around a lot. What learning management should you decide on and why? Lesson plans, collaborative templates, just an environment where you're going to be able to build and grow as a tech coach. And then a Facebook group that's geared just toward tech coaches, just to be able to stay in contact pretty much 24/7.
Now, we've been talking on the podcast here lately about a $50 off coupon, but this is going to be the first podcast I think we're going to announce. We're going to announce that we're doing $100 off our mastermind price. If you guys use the code TC100, you guys get a third of the price off the mastermind, and we would love to have you guys start this. Our mastermind, again, is going to be starting up in middle of January, running till about the middle of March or so. We would love to have you there. Go to teachercast.net/AskTheTechCoachMastermind. Use the coupon code TC100 to get 33% off or $100 off your purchase. And of course, Nick, as we look towards the new year, we want to bring on some tech coaches who have been friends to our show. I want to introduce our first member of our roundtable. She is the lovely and talented and amazing Carrie Hawk herself, Miss Carrie Gallagher. Carrie, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Jeff?
Thank you so much for being here. For those who don't know Carrie, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a world traveler now, aren't you?
I try to make sure I'm home enough that my children remember me, though. So I'm the assistant principal for teaching and learning at a school called St. John's Prep in Danvers, Massachusetts, which serves students grades 6 through 12. I'm also the director of K-12 education for ConnectSafely.org, an internet safety nonprofit out of Palo Alto, California. And I do a few other things here and there, but those are my two main roles. I really like traveling to conferences and districts and working with students and teachers and parents on lots of different things. Tech coaching is a part of it, and it's an important piece that makes the rest of it work really well.
Thank you so much for being here. Also returning, I want to bring from the great area of St. Louis, Miss Sadie. Sadie, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm the Instructional Innovation Specialist in the Melville School District, which is in just outside of St. Louis. I do a lot of the professional development for our district. I have about 750 teachers that I try to reach through professional development and just supports, coaching, going to classes and co-teaching. It's really fun. I love it. And then I also am on the leadership team for a local education nonprofit, Connected Learning, here in St. Louis.
And of course, we're looking forward to meeting each other. We were saying about this at the before the show started. We're going to be catching up at FETC this year.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm going to make a whole week or weekend of it, I guess, or a couple days of it. It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
I am looking forward to seeing Sadie in Florida because after all, it is a small world, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one was, that's how the show's going to start, everybody. And I want to bring on from the great state of Texas. You hear him in the background. Claudio, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay despite that one. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Texas. I bet it's not 16 degrees in the morning.
No, it's been a little, I mean, for here, I guess, 35 is chilly here, but I know that's nothing compared to up north. But everything's going well. I'm at a school district in Duncanville, instructional tech coordinator, so I'm working with teacher specialists, teachers, administrators, helping integrate technology. And I'm also at different conferences as well, sharing about creativity. And like Carrie said, I'm an Instagrammer myself, so I'm sharing a lot of content on there. And I want to say, too, is that I hope to see you there. I think I'm going to be there for 2 days at FETC, so
nice.
We'll hopefully get to meet some of you that I haven't met in person.
We are looking to take this podcast on the road. Nick and I are both going to be down at Florida for FETC. We're going to be at ISTE in Philadelphia. We want to meet you guys out there. Nick, we recently did a 2018 listener poll. We had over 400 people respond to that, which was amazing. Thank you, guys. And we realized that about 30% of our audience considers themselves to be tech coaches, which is a really, really cool population to be talking about. And if you guys are looking to be on the show or looking for anything tech coach related, we want to hear from you guys. Find us over on Twitter at @AskTheTechCoach. That's at Ask the Tech Coach. Or, of course, you can always find us on our other channels. You can, of course, leave us a voice message over at teachercast.net/voicemail. Or, of course, you can email us over at feedback@teachercast.net. We want to hear from you. And, of course, we love it when you check out all of the archives of our podcast at askthetechcoach.com. Now, we have a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about, things that we're hoping to do in 2019, things we're looking forward to. But I'm going to start the show off by throwing a curveball. Guys, what were you excited about, or what was exciting in 2018 as we wrap up this year, this school year, last year, conference season? Carrie, what excited you about 2018? Was there a feature that came out? Was there an app that came out? Was there a conference? What was memorable over in the last 12 months for you?
If I want to think about the ability of my students to share their learning, I think the suite of tools that was definitely my favorite to use with teachers has, and that excited them at its ease of use and yet the high quality of the product that it allowed students to create. It's the Adobe Spark suite of tools. It's for sure. And the fact that they made it available to students under 13 as a result of some changes to the platform that districts can adopt has been a game changer for us at my school. Finding that more and more students are feeling, and teachers are feeling, empowered to develop projects for students to do where they're doing some really traditional tasks like research and citation and writing, but they're able to mix that in with some more creative media that they can then share beyond their classroom. And so we're having more opportunities for students to publish their work to the broader community, to other students. And I just think it's been really a phenomenal tool that, there's always been ways for students to publish their work online, but oftentimes the learning curve with how to use the back end of those tools has been just as difficult as learning the content. And when the tools can be so simple that they get out of the way and the students can really focus on learning the content, that is the sweet spot right there. So that's a particular tool that I thought has been great this past year.
I got to echo that because I think the Spark tools are absolutely great. And you're saying how easy it is for the students. I'm going to go on a side note on that and go, how easy is it for the administrators? I was recently working with an assistant principal who said, how do I make a great looking video? And I said, use Spark. Now, Claudia, you're not a stranger to Adobe, right? Like, what do you think about the Spark apps?
They are incredible. I love sharing Adobe Spark tools everywhere I go in my district. And I think it's such an easy tool to use that really anybody can. You don't have to have a graphic design background. My brother and I both studied graphic design, so got a background in it, but you don't even have, anybody can use those tools from K up to college level. I think they offered it for free to them as well. And what you produce is high quality content that you can actually put in a magazine. I know a lot of companies that are not in education actually pay for those features that are in Adobe Spark to promote their companies in Facebook and Twitter and all social media. So having that ability for schools to be able to create content that looks clean and looks professional, and that could also share their voice and their identity. That's one of the things I like about it, is you can brand your content, and students can create their own identity too as well, and create their own logos and then drop them on their content that they create.
Now, Sadie, did you have a memorable moment of 2018?
Actually, right before, as Carrie was starting to talk, I was thinking Adobe Spark would be, probably, the Adobe, tools, because they're so intuitive and they're easy for the kiddos to use and figure out how to use. And they, like you said, they don't get in the way, and they really make basic graphic design, I guess, because it's, the basics of graphic design really accessible to kids and to teachers without having to know all the publisher and things like that, or not publisher, Illustrator and Photoshop and all of that. But I mean, for me, just totally personally, I think my big memorable moment was going out to Google for the Google Innovator this year, because that really sparked so many other things for me that it sent me in all these different directions. So for me personally, that was my big moment of 2018.
Now, Nick, you and I have been talking a lot about some of the things that have happened over the last couple months. Is there anything that stands out for you that's memorable? I know you guys had like an ed camp over the summertime. You've been pretty busy with a lot of things.
Yeah, I think, with me, it's just getting teachers to think about, using tools for some different purposes. And for me, obviously, it's on the PD end, and just really bringing in elements of gamification, and how anything that I do, I'm sort of modeling what, effective blended learning and personalized learning and all of those things are, and how each of them is, DI, how they're all just pieces of a lot of the same stuff as far as teaching goes. And I think for me, just seeing my teachers get excited about PD, right now I'm doing a 12 days of tech innovation. And the whole idea is just to get them excited about the things they didn't know they could do with tech, but how it's just seamless, just seamlessly integrated little things that I want them to try. And they're engaged in it. I've got, I think, close to 100 some odd teachers that are taking part in this event. And then that's what's exciting for me.
Now, I remember, there's a lot of great things that happened for us this year. Of course, ISTE was fantastic, getting to go out and not only joining the Lego Education creative educator team and going out and interviewing Microsoft. I remember being at the Microsoft booth doing some interviews, and that's where I got a chance to get Flipgrid fever. How many of you guys have gotten Flipgrid fever this year? Everyone's smiling, everyone's shaking their head, and that for me was one of those like magical moments, because for the first time they were announcing, it was really right around that area, they were Flipgrid. There you go, Claudio. That Flipgrid was free for everybody. And that was a huge announcement that not only did Flipgrid join the Microsoft team, but it's now free for all Microsoft users, Apple users, Google, everybody out there. And that kind of got me thinking, like, look, if we could take an app and add to it, or add a feature to it, or anything like that, like maybe there's something that's bothering you about a specific app and for instance, I'll give you the example. For me, I love Google Slides. Who doesn't love Google Slides? But I always thought it was weird that in a Google Slide, you can go to insert image and you can insert an image from Google Photos. But if you go to insert video, you can't insert a video from Google Photos. And I'm sitting there going, why is that the case? And much like the other side, why in Google Forms can you add a video from YouTube, but you can't add a video from your Drive or from Google Photos? Claudia, you're shaking your head here. I'm sure you've got a couple good ones. If you could play the almighty here and morph some things or change things around or add a feature onto your favorite something, what would it be? Well, what's on your mind here, my friend?
I think I just added this at the very, like I added the note. One of the things that, like for example, when we're trying to jump onto the meeting here, was it wouldn't open up on my Safari browser, so I had to go to my Chrome browser. And so one of my wishes that would happen is that if Google, Apple, Microsoft, and I know they're all separate companies, but somehow guys work together for the benefit of everyone. It was like, I want it to work.
But Microsoft's listening, right? Like Microsoft is now going Chromium. They've already announced that they're going to be using Chromium. It's like, wow, right? Like that's really, really big news.
Huge, yeah. So that's a great step in the right direction, I think. Yeah.
Nick, what do you think? And is there anything that you're like, I wish something had something?
Yeah. Well, the update to Google Keep threw me off, and the white on white sticky notes and background. So I kind of wish we had more visualization options as far as that. We integrated some Jamboards in our district, and I'll tell you the one gripe that I always had, and this throws people off if they don't know about the Jamboards, is you can't bring in stuff from your Google Drive on the Jamboard itself. Like while you're at the Jamboard, you have to be using the Jamboard app. And that to me was a big hurdle with teachers. And I guess, Google's thinking, which is great, is, well, what if you leave the board and your stuff is up? It's on the Jamboard and anyone now can open up your Drive and delete and access those files. But, for a teacher to say, okay, I'm at the board, I just wish I could open and access everything from my Drive, and that's not feasible, that then they have to, bring in their phone or an iPad or something like that in order to do it. So I guess for me, that would be the biggest number one piece I'd love to see.
Carrie, what about you? You have a chance to see a lot and do a lot, and you wear many hats at your school. If you were the puppeteer, the magician, and you could snap your fingers and make something happen, if you had your Ed Tech Infinity Gauntlet.
The way Claudia was talking about the integration of the big guns and whether there's certain tools that I think each of those companies do really well. So I really like Office 365's OneNote. I think it's incredibly powerful. The amount of different types of media that you can integrate, the choice to either share something or not share something, and the co-editing features are awesome. It's almost like I wish it would talk to my Google Drive, where I already have a lot that exists, so that it wouldn't have to be so much downloading and uploading. And I'm fortunate enough that my school is both a G Suite school and an Office 365 school. And you'd think that sounds awesome, but it actually can make things really complicated, unfortunately. So we have access to all these powerful tools, but you really can't use all of the tools with all of the kids, because that gets to be too much for the kids and their parents.
But how does that work, right? You are the many hats, right? You are a PD tech trainer, but when it comes time to teach certain things, you said that your district uses both Google and Microsoft. How, do you have a plan that says all teachers must be using OneDrive, but I want them to do it with a Google Doc, or how? What's the focus when it comes to how should a classroom look and act?
So that's why we adopted an LMS. So we, and this is actually as you let off initially with I wear many hats. as the assistant principal of teaching and learning, one of my job is to lead our technology program from the academic side, right? Not from the tech IT side, but the academic side. And so I'm leading the rollout of our new LMS, and we decided to adopt Canvas. So nice. Canvas integrates well with both Office 365 and G Suite. We're really focusing on the G Suite integration right now in our initial rollout, but I anticipate as we move forward, we'll have our Microsoft junkies will start to dig into that other side. I think we're definitely more a dominant Google school just because that integration happened to happen first for us. But yeah, I think if you can find an LMS that integrates with all the systems so that it still is a one-stop shop to access the tools, that is where the magic sauce is.
And I think that you're going to see a lot of 2019 being those integrations. So many APIs are opening up. I know recently I caught 5 or 6 YouTube videos from Microsoft saying that, hey, now OneNote now collaborates with all these different things. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that. I mean, even this week, there was a YouTube video that says Google Drive and G Suite for business users can now integrate with Box, which is like a Dropbox competitor. But now you can start to do all these different things back and forth. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that. Sadie, we didn't get a chance to hear from you. Like, what if you had to snap your EdTech Infinity gauntlet and make something happen? What would it be?
If I could just snap my fingers and all of these new awesome tools that come out, or even some of the old ones, could just update all of their terms of service and make everything compliant and safe for kids to use and safe for kids to log into. And we could explore and use all these things. That would be like my dream situation, is that just everything was safe for kids to use. And because, it's a full-time job just keeping up with all of that, with all of the data privacy side of it. And I'm glad that I'm lucky that it's not my full-time job. It's just kind of part of what I'm under. And that would be my, if I could snap my fingers, that's what I would do. But I would also like it, this is a small thing, if my Google Calendar app, because I live my life in Google Calendar, if whenever it pops up to tell me I have like an event or something, I could hit snooze and like make it pop up again. Because I know that you can set up multiple notifications, but like, I don't want to do that. I just want to hit snooze and then it reminds me again in 10 minutes or whatever. So that would be an addition I would love. Like, I would love to have that.
I was coming up, I was talking with an ed tech entrepreneur friend a couple weeks ago and said, wouldn't it be cool if there was one repository where you put in your presentations and then the conference picks from that? And then you get a chance to go, as opposed to putting in your FETC proposal, your ISTE proposal, your Q proposal. And they're all similar, but that's a lot of work to do all those different things. I know, this is first one.
So like a common application, but like for college.
Common application, right. There, without the fee, of course, on that.
Right.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes. Yeah. You heard it here first. If anybody wants to, askthetechcoach.com. You can certainly find us. So from moving from things that we want to see to things that we might want to have, this topic here actually popped up on our recent mastermind meeting where we said, what is the one app that you either can't live without, or that you wouldn't mind paying for, or you could pay for if you want to. Now Nick, you had just kind of hissed and moaned at Google Keep, but I know that you really do like having Google Keep around.
I do. That's my number one app of choice. You know what it is? I just always on the go, and to me, it just seems it's such an easy tool to use. And I love the fact that you can collaborate and share those keep notes out and whatnot. So integrate photos and things like that, and drawings to Google Drawings inside. So yeah, that's it's one of my favorites. And an app I obviously can't live without. We do a lot in our district, LMS wise, and integrating. The ability to integrate all the other, ed puzzles and flip grids and thing links inside of that. So, using an LMS for that purpose as well, definitely two apps I would never be able to deal without.
Now, Claudia, you've got some interesting ideas here of things that you'd like. You wanted to do a voice-controlled photo editing app?
That's a wish. So I do a lot of I take a lot of photos and I do a lot of editing, and there's a lot that I'll go through an app and process it and look at it. But I wish it was a way it's like, hey, give me some more lighten, give me some more shade, lighten it up, and it just like does it for you. but you're telling it what to do. Give me a more greenish tint to it. Give me a little more exposure. I mean, that would just be like, wow.
Do you see us getting there?
Probably at some point. I think it will. I mean, they're going to have Photoshop they're going to have a full blown Photoshop on an iPad coming up in 2019. I mean, we're going to get there at some point.
And you're also looking for a student version of Pinterest. Didn't we already have one of those?
I don't know. And so the reason I put that up is like we had a teacher wanted the students to create some pin boards for their kind of career class, and it's blocked in our district because some of the content that comes up. They did some searches and like, well, we got to block it. We can't. If we open it for them, it's going to be open up for the little ones. So if there was, I don't know if they Pinterest. If you're listening, Pinterest, maybe make like a.
I mean, didn't we had EduClipper, right?
What'd you say?
We had EduClipper.
Oh, I see. I haven't.
And then that was kind of sold off, and it recently just sprung its head back, but I don't know. Something
to that effect for it's a safer environment, kind of like what Sadie was saying, snap fingers, like a safe environment of resources like that.
Now, the last one here you said is you're looking for a streaming tool for social media platforms. What are you looking for there, my friend?
Well, there's so many different tools, but some of them are like, okay, it'll go to YouTube. This one will only do to Periscope. This one will only do to IGTV or whatever. Like, make it one tool that can do it for all. It's a wish.
I'm gonna throw a couple suggestions down here.
Okay.
It's not cheap, but a paid subscriber of CoSchedule.
Okay.
Which is fantastic. Then that plugs right into WordPress, or you can go to the coschedule.com, and that sets everything up on autopilot. But I found a much cheaper version called Promo Republic, Promo Republic. I just purchased this. It was very, very inexpensive. I like using AppSumo because they'll give you like $50 and you get like a lifetime membership of these different things. So like for $49, you got a lifetime membership for this, and it gives you all your social media stuff. Check that out. Carrie, what are you looking forward to in 2019? What's the one thing that you couldn't live without? You're looking for some kind of Connect safety guides?
So these are guides that I've already co-authored. I just wish that there was a better way for me to share them with people. I think that they're really, I authored them because I thought that they would be helpful. Like as Sadie was talking about the data privacy thing, I think it's an issue that is really intimidating for your average classroom teacher, and is even a reason to not try to use a new tech tool for many people, because they're just afraid of the liability or what might happen, or that, a tech coach may be like, you're doing what with who, and they'll get in trouble. And it can be broken down into manageable chunks of information so that your average teacher can feel more confident with it. So that's why the data privacy guide is out there. We're talking about the Adobe Spark suite for students, and thankfully within that suite, there's a search tool that specifically makes sure it only targets Creative Commons licensed content, so that any images that are pulled from online to be used within a design in Spark are okay to be used under copyright guidelines. But that's when people aren't using the Spark suite, they're allowing kids to just do a Google image search. And to be honest, most teachers are doing that in their slide decks that they're using for lectures, and not citing and not paying attention. And so we put together a creativity and copyright guide for that reason, which takes very complicated concepts of copyright and fair use and Creative Commons, and really just breaks it down into, again, those manageable chunks, that your chemistry teacher who's like, no, I'm an expert in chemistry, I'm not an expert in technology, can still feel confident enough to understand that. So I just wish there was a way to really share that information and expertise in those manageable chunks and get those guides out there.
The website is connectsafely.org/quick guides. Carrie, these things are beautiful. I gotta ask you.
They're amazing.
Freaking awesome.
What did you create them with?
So we have a designer who does all the creative work. I'm the content person.
They are absolutely great. Connect Safely, SAFELY, connectsafely.org/quick guide. The website's amazing. I share this often with friends. I mean, this is just absolutely great. The topics are good. The content is absolutely top notch. Please
Definitely go look at this. When Carrie shared the copyright and creativity one back in, was it this summer? I think, I don't know when you originally shared it, but I sent it over to our curriculum team, and it's now going into like our resource packet for all of our new hires whenever they get hired.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, because it is like copyright is something that can be scary, and I can stand up there and talk to them about it, but it's like the most boring thing sometimes to talk about because it's so dry, and the way that it's presented, and especially that one specifically, the way that it is presented is just so easy, like in manageable chunks, that it makes it really easy for teachers to understand, which makes it easy for them to implement in their classrooms. So yeah, that one's being shared out to all new hires in the Melville School District going forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Sadie, as far as 2019 goes, what are you looking forward to? What are some of those things that you need to have in that backpack?
So one thing that I kind of came across this summer and this fall is the Future Design School. Their curriculum they're out of Toronto. They are amazing. They do a lot of really great PD for teachers, and they do a lot of really great curriculum and summer camps for kids. And so I have this fear, I don't know if it's a fear or whatever, that design thinking has become this buzzword along with all of these other buzzwords in education and ed tech. And it's become like, oh, we're doing a design thinking activity. And it's just become an activity and not an instructional practice, and not something that we just use this design process, or that we involve empathy in everything that we do. And that curriculum, that Future Design School curriculum there, it's K-12, and it's not a standalone thing. It's aligned to standards so that you can really see how this design process can fit into the things that you're already doing in your class. So that's something that it is a paid, a product, paid, app, whatever it is. But it's something that I think is worth the money, that we are looking at moving forward with, at least picking a couple of the different grade levels and kind of piloting it, because it is good stuff. So that's something that I'm kind of excited about using in 2019.
Nice. And I will say that one of the apps that Nick and I have been using for the last month or so, and this has absolutely turned into the I can't live without this, is called Plutio. Plutio. What is Plutio? Plutio is a task management software. It is a small business organization software. It does we've been using it to organize everything from our podcast to our blogs to phone calls that we have. I've literally moved TeacherCast into this, and I've moved my tech coaching at school into this, where if I'm meeting with the principal, I will open up a task, and then inside that task are subtasks, and you can add links and pictures and photos and videos and all of these different things. And as far as tech coaching goes, and many people out there looking to become consultants and stuff, it does free invoicing and proposals, which is something I haven't tried out yet. But I've been a QuickBooks user for the last couple of years, and every time you use QuickBooks, they're charging 3% to use those tools, and Plutio gives this to you for free. And it's amazing of what it can do. Check it out, Plutio.com. It fully integrates with Google Calendar, Google Everything. Nick, you and I have been using it. What do you think of Plutio? It's been pretty awesome to try.
Yeah, it took me a little bit, just because I think, you just find ways to make it work, which ends up being, you go into your Google Calendar, you jump into your Google Keep, you check your email, and you're grabbing things from all different places. So this, to me, I always had to keep reminding myself that, you're going to one place. And it was cool to see the integration side of, Jeff, you and I having the images to each of our blog posts, to having the links, to having the Google Docs and slides embedded into Plutio, so we can actually see everything right in there. So it's just been a nice one-stop shop, a hub for everything that we're doing, and it cleans up and closes. I'll tell you what, it closes a lot of tabs on my browser, so that's a nice thing.
And there's a nice chat.
Chat feature too. Yep.
There's an overall. So, for instance, Nick and I have an overall chat going in there, but for each of the tasks, we have mini chats, and all these different things, and really the need for something like Plutio came because we were looking for systems, right? And whether this be a tech coach system or a podcaster system or even a family system, like we're always trying to figure out how to make our lives easier. And when Nick and I started the podcast in August, we sat down and we created a Google Sheets spreadsheet with a calendar and all these different things. And, many of you guys out there know that we've been giving away that editorial calendar as a free download for joining our Insiders newsletter. But now that I have this, it pulls so many systems together. Now, let me ask you guys here, is there a system that you guys are currently using? Maybe one that you built? Or is there a system that you're looking for as tech coaches, as presenters, as entrepreneurs, as whatever hat you're wearing? Is there a system out there, Sadie, that you're like, I wish I had something that could do this?
I have a, kind of Frankenstein's together system that I use to kind of keep track of, kind of what my next steps are after I've met with teachers. I fill out a Google form that's saved on the home screen of my phone, and then that uses Form Mule to send me an email to remind me to do this or to remind me to do that. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of all these different tools to remind me to do things, and that has worked for me. But I kind of wish, and I don't even know what it is that I need. Like, I don't know what I don't know, I think, but I need a better way to do communication with my teachers, because sometimes it's a quick email back to one teacher, and sometimes I need to email second grade in this building, but sometimes I need to email second grade district wide, or I need to do these there's all these different levels and tiers of communication that I have going on. And I just feel like typing in people, I don't know. I feel like just using just Gmail is not the best way to be communicating with people in the different ways that I'm doing it. And I don't know if it's creating Google Classrooms, but then you'd have all these Google Classrooms to manage. So I don't know what it is, but I know that I need a better way to streamline and kind of manage all these different types of communication I've got going on, but I don't know what it is that I need.
Claudia, do you have an answer for her? How do you deal with communication?
No, I don't. I think right now we're just kind of the same thing. We're in the same situation. We're just email calls. I mean, I have a phone in my office, but I rarely use the phone, because I'm always out and about. And it would be nice to have something like a quick. I don't know if we use Voxer and things like that, but I don't know if this
Voxer for 500 people and
and it's so it's just if there was a quick way to boop, boop, here we go. Maybe we're thinking future, hey, call, almost like what you do with Siri or Alexa, something like that. It was hey, what was that? Jeeves, remember that? Ask Jeeves. Maybe bring Jeeves. Let's bring Jeeves back. Hey, Jeeves.
And there's times that I'll realize that I need to send an email to, all of second grade, but it's after a second grade teacher reaches out to me with a question that I'm this response would probably be best for all of second grade, and then and sure, I can type in second grade and it goes out to them. But I just feel like there's, I don't know, ways that I could just have this constant communication with all these different people. I feel like what I want doesn't exist, but I just need a better communication system, perhaps. I don't know.
Carrie, what's your answer on that one? How do you do communication?
I was muted for a second. So I don't know. I think I worry about those. I worry about the balance between making sure everybody has the information they need when they need it and overwhelming and flooding their inbox.
Right.
And that balance is really hard to strike because I know what my inbox looks like, and I know how overwhelming it is for me. But I also don't like surprises in terms of communication. Mm-hmm. So I want to know what I need to know at the time that I need to know it. So I think it's a tough one. Within my own school, we have these weekly newsletters, and the deal is you promise to read the newsletter. We promise not to send out school-wide emails. And so that has worked really well, and our teachers are actually reading the newsletter. And it's almost like if you don't read the newsletter and therefore don't know about something, you even are subject to, shaming by your colleagues. And so that peer pressure has helped. We do the same thing for parents. We have a parent newsletter. And so we're not sending out emails to parents, 3-4 times a week. They just check that once a week newsletter. So that all goes through a communications office, which means you need to have a communications office in your school or district, which not everybody has, to help facilitate all of that so that it's all streamlined. I do think that our LMS will help a great deal because those about school-wide programming. Whereas Canvas can be the place where parents and students can get information about individual classes without necessarily having to email the teacher. They can just drill right into the Canvas course and get the information that they need. So I think that LMS piece is key. Interestingly enough, I was doing some of the initial training we're rolling it out at the beginning of second semester, so in mid-January. And so we're just finishing up the training cycles with our faculty. And in a training on Monday afternoon, as a teacher was first making contact with the platform for the first time for her, she noticed that there was an inbox built into the platform. And I made sure I pointed out that in enrollments, it doesn't just list your students, it also lists their parents as enrolled in the course. And she said, does that mean that the parents can inbox me in Canvas? Because they can also already email me. And if they can, then I'm opting out of Canvas. And I said, well, you can opt out. But if you set your notifications, then the message in the inbox will result in a message in your email letting you know, but then you're getting like double inbox. And she's like, oh, well, that's okay, because I'll only check my email. So it's not just about the systems, it's about teaching people how to use the systems. And that's a whole other layer that complicates this.
Yeah.
So I didn't help at all in answering your question. I just agree with you that it's a problem.
I send out a monthly newsletter, but it's so like broad and overarching because I send it out K-12 and even like administrators, it goes out to the whole district. So 1,000 people. But I know that there's a couple of our buildings that send out a weekly newsletter. And I wonder if I couldn't just pop into those principals and be like, hey, do you mind if I get like a corner of your newsletter? Just to, reach them a little bit better. I don't know.
That's exactly what we've done. There aren't multiple newsletters. There's one, and we all contribute to the same one.
We've been using Google Sites as our newsletters, and they're beautiful. They're easy to use, and they're fantastic. And if you guys out there have an answer for Sadie, we would love to have you guys join us over here. You can always leave us a voice message at teachercast.net/voicemail or leave us an email at feedback@teachercast.net. We're not perfect here. We want to figure out what you guys are doing. If you have a communication method, let us know. Now, Carrie, you're on the hot seat. Is there a system that you'd love to have or built or anything that we can help you out with the greater community this holiday season?
So one part of my role is making sure that we are not just supporting teachers and students, but also parents, so that the technology, which is incredibly powerful that we put in the hands of our students, is, I can do a great job training our teachers and make sure that it's used well within the culture of our school. But for most of us, when we put those devices in their hands, our students take them home, right? And our school firewalls don't necessarily exist at their home, depending on the systems that you have in place in those devices. And our parameters for what's appropriate use of technology in school may not be followed when they go home, depending on the structure of the home and whether adults are able to be home, how many jobs everybody has. And those are not the only devices that kids have access to. A lot of times they also have their own smartphone, or maybe they also have access to a tablet, or there's lots of other devices in the home. So one system that I'm working on developing, and it's in process right now, is effective support for parents at home so that our kids are being taught to use the devices well. We're doing probably a really great job at that at our schools, but how can we support parents so that they don't feel like, oh my God, you just gave my kid the keys to the kingdom and he's taking it home with him, and I don't even know how to manage this now. And they feel overwhelmed. So that's a system we're trying to put in place in terms of parent programming that's both, based in webinars and live face-to-face, maybe individual coaching sessions, those kinds of things.
Nice. Claudio, how about yourself? A system you're looking for, or one you have, or what can we do to help you in 2019?
Sorry, I was answering a message of someone. Gosh, I think I might have to take a pass on this one for right now.
Okay. Nick, how about yourself? Anything that you're looking at that you're like, man, I wish I had an easier way of doing this?
I think sort of like Carrie was saying, we do a lot with our LMS, and I think I like the outcome with that, especially how I've kind of 2.0'd our PD program to be more on the go to accommodate, the teachers and their lives. One thing I'd like to do, though, I think if I wasn't mistaken, I think it was Kelly Orvik had this discussion with us and when shared it. And I was in the same boat. Was, I don't know if it's more of a plan, but more like I guess a cycle and just more of a format to follow for coaching teachers, like an actual cycle or plan that we can put together that really just hits on, going through true coaching and development for teachers. I don't know what that, what the right way to kind of word that is, but I would just like to see some type of model designed and developed that can assist maybe that's something we look at, and some of us and look at kind of working with other tech coaches. Because I think a lot of us ask that question, just, how do we get in and what do we do once we're in? But are we giving the teacher enough as far as the PD and what their needs are to really say, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year that they've gone from point A to point B?
There's a lot of things out there I think that tech coaches could use. I know for myself, one of the things that we're going to be focusing on in 2019 is more email marketing. And I'd love to get your ideas on this, but the idea is, if there's a bunch of tech coaches, why not come up with some kind of an email marketing chain where if somebody comes to Sadie and says, I want to learn about Google Forms, boom, an email sequence can start to drop. That way Sadie can be in more than one place at a time. And if somebody says, I want to learn about Google Slides, boom, there's an email sequence that, and it's not any different than we're doing right now, but it's an automated way of looking at that. And
I think one of the things, sorry, Jeff, I think one of the things that I've learned about just teaching and learning in general is the biggest indicator of the success of the learner, whether they're a teacher or a student, is the quality of the face-to-face relationship.
Absolutely.
So I do have to say that I think that that's a great system that sounds really efficient, but if there isn't any face-to-face follow-up and relationship building, then you're not likely that teacher is going to adopt something new that will have a great impact on the students or that will serve them in the long term.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I certainly wasn't saying take the tech coach out of it, but if you had a 10 email sequence where the first email was, hey, how do you put a video on a Google form? And then at the bottom it says, please call me. I'm happy to come out and work with you on this. But at least you're throwing some small tips and, hey, I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you need me. Because that way you're not blasting. I mean, look, we all send out a tech coach newsletter to, as Sadie said, 1,000 people. There's no way to make an email that's going to satisfy everybody. Yeah. But if you could make 12 emails and everybody gets their own unique version of it. And again, at the bottom, I'm happy to come out. What do you need? Here's my number. Something that's going to engage. At least it's more personal with those things. And again, we want to know what you guys are looking for. The show is called Ask the Tech Coach. We're asking you guys, what are you looking forward to in 2019? Guys, I want to say thank you so much for your time today. Before we wrap up and let everybody go, what are you looking forward to next year, guys? Is it a conference? Is it an app? Is it a launch? Sadie, what are you looking forward to in 2019?
So total, just shameless plug. The thing that I'm really looking forward to the most is getting this design studio for educators off the ground. I launched my first lesson a couple weeks ago, and I just need to keep pushing myself to continue to develop that content. And it's just around teaching teachers about the basics of graphic design, because that's something that if you didn't go to design school, you probably didn't learn those things. We're asking our kids to create for this global audience, and we're asking our kids to publish their content, but we're not spending the time to teach them the process and the skills and the tools to actually make that content meet the needs of their audience. Sorry, that was my sales pitch. I'm sorry. So you can tell I've said that several times before. So just getting that off the ground and getting it out there and getting it in the hands of teachers so they can start using it with their kids. And that's what I'm most excited about, because in order to get it out to all the teachers, I have a lot of teachers in my district that are piloting it and they're loving it, and their kids are creating some really cool things. So that's exciting.
Very cool. Carrie, what are you looking forward to next year?
I'm just really excited. I am really loving my new role at my school, and finding that I'm learning a lot really fast. And I'm looking forward to getting through the rest of the school year and getting to year 2. Because I feel like at least year 2, everything won't be the first time through. So it's one of those years that I feel like I'm the metaphor of drinking from a fire hose. I'm kind of in the midst of that right now, and loving every second of it. But I'm excited to be in a place where I'm able to do more real reflection and thinking and purposeful design in how I'm doing things rather than, just kind of hammering through. It's kind of like being a first year teacher all over again, which is humbling and also a great reminder of how important our work is. So
that's awesome. Now, Claudio, what are you looking to spark your interest in 2019?
Well, kind of, I like Sadie. I like that design studio. That's just amazing, that idea. So it's kind of piggyback on that is this book that I've been kind of in the works. A friend of mine, we're kind of working on like just ideas for graphic design for teachers, because like I said, there are teachers don't have that background in design. And when, there's a whole science behind when you present content. Is it overloading students, or are you trying to get to the meat of the content? So something like on that is being able to share something like that, and then create like some sort of creative jam sessions, like to meet with other teachers that are into creating content, whether it's video, photographers, and like have some sort of meetups. Like I've gotten with musicians and jam with them and stuff, but doing like more like educators and hey, let's get into a creative jam session and let's meet up at somewhere and it's like, hey, let's do some photo walks together. Let's do this together. So, something like that.
Nick, what are you looking forward to?
Jeff, with you, growing our the Tech Coach Mastermind program is just something that I've enjoyed with our time that we spent doing that. And I think, personally with me, just Sadie kind of touched on it earlier when she talked about, how design thinking and sort of that as a fad. And I think a lot of my work in 2019 and especially just started now is just the idea of so many things in education being segregated. We talk about STEM as being its own course and coding its own course and design thinking and just how do we bring all of those pieces into what should be done as teaching inside the classroom? We don't need to go to a makerspace if making happens in the classroom with all of the teachers. And just how do we do that? And that's just something I've been, as my game plan for 2019.
And guys, it has been a great 2018. Lots of great things going on. We are looking forward to some what would you say, Nick? Some pretty big announcements for 2019. Probably at the beginning of the year. We are looking forward to doing some pretty heavy bombshell announcements, actually, concerning the future of TeacherCast.
Sure.
We're looking forward to sharing some things, but look for a lot of stuff going on here. This is, of course, not the last episode of the month. We are going to be coming back on New Year's Day. We've got a special episode of Ask the Tech Coach to get us ready for 2019 and beyond. And, guys, I want to say one more time, thank you so much for being on here. All you guys are repeat guests on our Roundtable show. We want you guys to be a part of our Roundtable. We do our Roundtables just about the last week or so of the month, every month, featuring great tech coaches, much like yourself. Let us know. Find us on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach. Leave us a voice message over at teachercast.net/voicemail. Email us over at feedback@teachercast.net. And we want to have you guys be a part of the Ask the Tech Coach Mastermind group. Go to teachercast.net/AskTheTechCoach Mastermind today. Don't forget that promo code TC100 for $100 off. Carrie, where can we find you and the great things that you're doing these days?
The best place is on all the social media at CarrieHawk02 and CarrieHawk02.com.
Sadie.
Same on Twitter and Instagram and all those things. It's at Sadie Clorinda, which is ridiculous. It's CLORINDA after my name.
Claudio.
Twitter and Instagram, it's at Claudio Zavala Jr. And then my website is I Am Claudius, and you can find me on YouTube on I Am Claudius as well.
Now I've been looking forward to this for 6 months. Somebody, I'm not going to say who, somebody got an early Christmas present. Nick, tell everybody where we can find you.
Sure. So on Twitter, I'm at NAmRLEDU, and I am happy to finally say that I have updated my blog, and you can now find me at, very simply, nicholasamrl.com.
Yay! Finally did it. 6 months. NicholasAmmerall.com. And, of course, you can check out all the great stuff over on our network over at AskTheTechCoach.com. And, of course, if you're looking to create a podcast, write a blog, do anything in STEM education, you can go over to TeacherCast.net and find all the great stuff. It is just getting started. 7.5 years into this, guys. I always want to stop and say thank you for the great support. Thank you for the holiday wishes. Many people asked by email, how did my wife make it through her surgery? She did wonderful. All that stuff is good. So thank you guys for the holiday wishes on all of that stuff. And we're looking forward to working with you guys in 2019. TeacherCast.net has always been a place for teachers to help other teachers. And I'm excited that it's now also a place for tech coaches to help other tech coaches. So on behalf of everybody here in the TeacherCast Educational Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury.
And I'm Nick Amaro.
Reminding you to keep up the great work in your classroom and continue sharing your passions with your students.